Hello there. You're watching and listening to another Scoutcast from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Granville.
And
my name's Jonty. Hello.
Jonty's there as well. Look at this.
Yeah. Hello, Jonty.
Hello.
I can't quite believe this is working because this is the first week we've done this for must be almost a year now since we did this, and we've been promising to do this for a few weeks. And it's taken us 25 minutes to get started and working. That is somewhat a bit of a record.
Right. I've just checked and we're on live, Mark.
Oh, what's happened there?
I'm just checking we're on.
Right, we heard all that, Granville.
Somebody's echoing. It ain't me.
Hold on. Let's put that. Where's that coming from? That's me, probably. It's taken 25 minutes to get started and working. That is somewhat a bit of a record.
You spoke way too soon.
I did.
We're on.
That's it. I fixed it. Fixed that. Slight technical hitch there. Well, I had the window open with the live cast, which is about 5 seconds behind. That shows you, doesn't it? We weren't going to do it without a problem, were we? But it's all fixed now. That's sorted, so you can't hear us on there now. Bit of a confusion. We could start again, and for the purpose of the Scoutcast, we probably will. Granville, welcome.
All right. I'd have to say, we're going to talk about the thing behind you. It's really off-putting because all I'm doing is looking at it and trying to find some albums.
What, the albums behind me? I'm trying to block it out of the way. Yeah, so to tell a story, that is basically a few years ago, my partner did my top 100 albums ever, and you can see that behind me. And yeah, some of the people viewing will be able to take a guess at some of those. Some of those are really obvious, though.
You see, the XX album. I'm having this urge to put my cursor on it and to click it.
Yeah, don't do that. You'll close the window.
To close you down.
Don't do that. You close the window. Yes. So it's new surrounds for me because I'm in a new house. So when we last did this, I was living in a completely different place, and I keep threatening to get my office sorted out down the garden, which is my shed. So in the future, I might end up recording from down there. But for now, I'm in the comforts of my living room, which include my decor and my top 100 albums poster. So anyway, enough of this. Granville, we're going to talk about our game week. We're going to bring Joe in as well. Joe, welcome, and thanks for joining us. You must have been itching to get involved.
I have. I've been waiting ages. I'm just posting on YouTube at the moment. Apple Bonkers has noticed that we've all got beards. So I'm just posting that I've actually been waiting so long, I've now grown a beard.
There's a lot of beard action going around. I've got to ask you, were you listening to Granville and I discussing your wild cards?
I was indeed, yeah. I was interested because this was a discussion that myself and Granville were having by email about my wild card being a failure, and I was quite put out because it was only a week into it, and I just felt I had to defend my wild card, and I thought a week was too much. And he's fully entitled to call it a failure now after 6 weeks,
well,
or 4 or 5 weeks. But I don't think it hasn't been a failure. It's just been a nothingy.
You got 36 points the first week, but then it was all about week 2. You did all right week 2 after that.
Yeah, I got Cazorla in, and this was part of what I was saying with the wild card is that you get the wild card in place, and it's meant to kind of set you up, and then it gives you the freedom to move. But one of the problems I had. And I got a little bit. I started to make these kind of luxury transfers, and I think a lot of people do this after a wild card. You think, oh, I'm free to do that. I'll do something like I'll move David Silva out, and I'll get Sanchez in, that kind of thing. And these are luxury moves. And now, last game we didn't make any transfers, so I think it's time to stop.
I was going to mention because David Silva, you got in, didn't you, for the week after your wild card? Then you took him out.
Oh no, I think I had him in already. I can't remember. He basically David Silva is. I don't know if you remember a chap called Gareth Bale. He used to play for Spurs. For a couple of seasons before he had his great season, he was one of these players that would get these 15, 17-point scores and then nothing. And so many people kept dodging Gareth Bale's points. So what I did, and I'm doing that with David Silva, I think he's one of these players you just got to get in and just leave, never get rid of, or just say, look, he's not for me. And as predicted, got him out, gets another big points haul.
I've had the same experience. I've had the same experience with him. I sold him for Sanchez on that midweek game, Sanchez did nothing. I think he got an assist last week, Silva, and then
Yeah.
he exploded this week. It's just silly.
Well, can I say 7 goals?
My cat is coming in. You want to make an appearance?
Is that a cat or is that a ghost?
It's just open up. You want to come on?
Sure, you got haunted there, Granville.
No, he's looking for food. My cat is daft. I fill his bowl up. He has a couple of bites of it, and then he comes back and asks for more. He completely forgets that his bowl is full. It's either that or he's just having.
Ernie was always like to make a note. It's Stanley, isn't it? I can't remember the name of your cat. You got rid of one. But Silva, 17 points this week, 7 goals in 10 game weeks. Suddenly, it's a bit more consistent than we expected, because I was really surprised at that.
Yeah, well, also because he's going through, he's scoring within the changes as well. And one of the problems with a player like Silva, that is like Ericsson, who's potentially quite explosive, is that they tend to get your 2-3 points and then an assist. Is that your cat again? And then an assist.
Why, how big is your cat, Granville? He just swung that door open violently.
But that's the thing with him. He tends to get those, and then you look at his price and you think, well, I'm not paying that money for an assist. I want much more than that. You want Hazard type returns, and then he comes out with that kind of score. So he's just one of those. As I said, you've either just got to accept that's what he's like, get him in, and he's going through that. So he's scoring when Yaya Toure wasn't there. He's scoring when Aguero wasn't there, and now he's scoring when Yaya Toure and Aguero are there. So that's a whole new dynamic for him.
Did you notice that one manager that did have him amongst us was Andrew Green Windmill, who's top of the Contributors League, and lo and behold, he struck gold again, held on to Silva, got his point.
Did he?
Yeah, and he's 118 in the world.
Every week, the bare minimum he'll get is just above average, and then he'll do most weeks like he got 69 points this week. And he's doing that every other week. He's getting 20 points above the average for the top 10,000 through one or two extra players. Who he's got the core 10,000 top 10,000 template with 1 or 2 extras, and it's those extras and just having those players in. So I can't see him being toppled from the top of our league, because
I'm trying to chase him, but I can't catch up.
Yeah, Mark's 36 points behind him. I'm 66 points behind him. On his current form, he'd have to really stuff up.
So let's look at Granville and I. The gap now 98 points, Granville. So back in game week 21, it was down to 2 points.
Well, the week before it was 2.
Yeah.
Game week 20 was 2 points.
Yeah, and now it's 98. So if you look at the last 6 game weeks, it's. I've had a couple of red arrows in the last couple of weeks, but I just had a run, didn't I? Where I had a couple of game weeks.
You had a run of 3 game weeks where you did really well, and it was like 30 points each game week, and that's a 90 points difference. Since then, there's been nothing between us, but I can't make any headway whatsoever.
Yeah, it's looking tough.
Yeah, it's tough for me. As I said to Jonty before, I've been chucked out of spaceship and still falling and just going,
You are the Sandra Bullock of the Contributors League at the moment. You're free falling. Jonty, you're going nowhere. I looked at your last 6 game weeks since you played the wild card. You've not moved an inch.
I hadn't noticed quite how dull my team was until I know I've dropped 279 places. So I was 2,124th. I'm now 2,403, third in the world. My wildcard helped in that it averted a rot. So at that time, I had
stabilised.
Yeah, I had lots of players at the time who were out or not performing. So I had Benteke then, Yaya Toure, a lot of African Cup of Nations players, and so I got rid of them, and it showed with the subsequent weeks. But it's tough when you've got managers like Green Windmill here, and there's obviously quite a few of them within the top 1,000, 2,000. It's hard to creep up on them. I tried a bit of Defoe, but that hasn't really worked out.
Jonty, talk us through Benteke. Come on.
I'm not a huge. Well, I was a huge fan of his. I think he's partly amongst a lot of fantasy managers living off the reputation of his good season. But the problem is Aston Villa. I mean, it's Sherwood's come in, and he hasn't got the same experience as Pulis has. With Pulis can come in, and he has so much experience with the team. He can look at the players, go, right, you're in, you're out. And as we've seen with his, he's changed the formation, the personnel. He's looked at players like Dorrans and got him out. Sherwood just doesn't have that level of expertise. He has the expertise of being a good man manager and with young players, but he's got to get people getting balls to Benteke. But Benteke's been getting loads of shots in. I mean, he's been getting the chances.
Don't you think there's more chance of Benteke getting scores with Sherwood? I mean, it's going to be playing 4-4. It's going to be playing more attacking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It started off with Bonhor and Benteke.
I just think for that price, I think you've obviously got Harry Kane for that type of price. You've got Harry Kane. You've got Ndoye at Hull. I have always liked Sacco at West Ham, and he was a player I did have before he got injured, and I'm very tempted to get him back. I just think he's going to offer a little bit more consistency when West Ham's fixtures go. I just think in that kind of bracket, that essentially a kind of a third striker, if we accept that most have Aguero and Kane. I think that third striker spot, there's a lot of competition, and Benteke's, for me, he's somewhere in the bottom of the top 10 of options.
Well, his fixtures: Newcastle away, West Brom at home, Sunderland and Swansea. So 2 home games, West Brom and Swansea. Sherwood's got to look to win those, hasn't he? I mean,
yeah, definitely. I just think I would like to see evidence. He's one of those. It's one of those transfers in that it'd be nice to make, because you get that kudos of going, wow, I got him in before his big haul, and I got him in before. Yeah. But I think with a player like that, I think you have to be cautious. I mean, it says on my tagline, Jonty Dullard, and that's the way I would play it. But I would definitely with Benteke. You don't, if he starts getting the big scores in, get him in. You've missed out on 1 or 2, that's fine. But I don't think he's the player he was. Aston Villa are a Championship side who've got an eager young manager, but they haven't got the personnel. Not for me.
I'm not sure I totally agree with you, because I think Delph's come back now. I think he's going to make a big difference to him. They've signed this Carlos Gil, who looks quite attacking, quite creative, and they've signed Sinclair. I think he's just on loan, isn't he? Mm. And he started off okay. So I think there may be some traction in.
I mean, I would say Sinclair is a better option, because he's a midfielder. He's got those midfield points, so a goal's worth more. He's got the option of clean sheet points. And of course, there's five slots.
Yeah, that's it. That's the difference. I think you're almost willing to make a gamble in midfield.
Okay, I'd definitely take a punt on Sinclair or Carlos Gil, but for as I said, most will have Kane, Aguero, and then you've got that other place. A lot of managers should be looking at game week 34. I know it's 7 or 8 game weeks away, but going to be looking at Costa for that double game week for Chelsea. I mean, if he's not going to be serving a suspension around that time, then that's your third striker, and you've got to look at
not necessarily. Well. If you have a look at the fixture, the Champions League fixtures, I think that could play a part as well.
It could do. I just think out of any of the big name strikers, I think as those games get tougher, you need Chelsea will just need him to perform. I mean, he's clearly eager, and he's a fit big lad. He can handle it.
So going into the blank this week, I mean, everyone's obviously got this problem of probably having at least 2 Chelsea. Now, are we all in a situation where we've got 2 transfers?
Well, it's not just 2 Chelsea. It's 2 Chelsea and Kane.
Well, everyone's got Kane. That's a given, isn't it? I mean, everyone in the top ranks has got to have Kane at the moment. I mean, if you haven't and you're still doing well, then that's quite extraordinary.
I think it was 96% ownership in the top 10,000 managers.
Right. Yeah, so there you go. So Kane's a given. So most of us have got Kane, Hazard, and one other. I've got Ivanovic. You two. Who have you got? You got Terry? Is that right, Johnson?
I've got Terry. I've got Hazard. I've got Kane. So there's my 3 there. I've also got Wisdom and Jeff Cameron. So
that's your problem there, isn't it?
I've got 5 players. But I've got 2 transfers.
You might have to make an extra one. I've got. Go ahead. I've got Fabregas and Zuma, as well as Hazard and Kane, which makes it tough for me. I saved my transfer like most of us. It's the other fly in the ointment is Van Aanholt, and I know Mark's got him as well, and a lot of people on the site have got him. And what do we do with him? Because it looks like he may have been dropped. And what makes it worse is that Sunderland got a clean sheet. So I would doubt that he'd come back. He'd come straight back in. He's a rotation risk. I think he's got to go, hasn't he?
I didn't see that coming at all because he was.
I know. I saw him in. He was in the scout picks too.
Yeah, he was playing left wing back when they played three centre backs, and obviously he's suited to that system. But obviously with four at the back, Poyet sees better options, and he's playing Wes Brown, which is like I never saw that one coming. I thought Wes Brown's days were over, but
I think the thing with Poyet, I mean, as I'm a Brighton and Hove Albion fan, and when he managed them, rotation was on a weekly basis. There's apart from Liam Bridcut in the Brighton side, there were very few that you could guarantee would start. And he's very prone to reacting swiftly if he feels a player isn't pulling their weight or is frail somewhere. And he's clearly seen that with Van Aanholt. And I would say he's probably either dropped for good now, or he may come back in a couple of weeks. But I would say he's a massive doubt to start next game.
Yeah, and having lost Wisdom recently as well, that's a bit of a problem. So you've got the situation with him. I mean, I think the key is get rid of the players that are inactive, because you can't afford to go into the weekend with Wisdom and Van Aanholt, because the thing is with those, you can get rid of those and get someone who's going to turn out for you on Saturday, but you can only really do that if you've got a spare transfer. There's no point in getting someone short term who's going to get you a couple of points at the weekend when you were better off then saving your transfers again for 28. I mean, what the community saying about this, John? This was
we had a hot topic on this morning about this, and was looking at I called it the imperfect 10 in terms of there were a lot of players in our position where we've got our Chelsea players, we've got our Spurs players, and we've also got these basically kind of dead weight players like Wisdom who might play, might not. I mean, for me, Jeff Cameron, I may just keep, because I think he'll come on for a bit and he'll get a point. And I think if I replace him with someone, he might get a point as well. So, but yeah, lots of people. So I mean, we've got Foley FD here says the answer is no about going in for a 10. He prefers to play with 11 during that week. And there's a few others here. So other options are getting rid of some of the Chelsea or Tottenham players.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, it's just so tough. Ivanovic maybe, because you're not losing too much on price, but you're going to want him back. I mean, their fixtures are West Ham and Southampton are the next two, aren't they? Immediately after.
But but the thing is, they haven't got the difference with Spurs and QPR have got a game straight after, so they'll have a double game week.
Yeah.
Chelsea haven't got that, and their next game after that is West Ham away. You're
still not going to get rid of Hazard, are you? Because of the cost.
No, I'm not going to get rid of Hazard, but I mean, I've got Zuma and Fabregas. Fabregas, I'm definitely selling now. I've hung on for him for too long. I hung on for him through the couple of games he was injured, and then then he didn't come straight back. So I made a mistake with him, and I'll lose point throwing him, but I think I've had enough now. So I'm just looking at someone like maybe Ericsson, but Ericsson's another one. He's like, I mean, he gets dropped every so often, and he got dropped. He got dropped at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was just a rest, wasn't it, ahead of the Capital One final? Surely.
Yeah,
I think he's played 34 consecutive league games now.
Yeah.
Before that.
Yeah, I think with Chelsea players, I think there's a strong argument to get rid of them. I think you're right there, Granville. So.
Yeah, well, with me, I'm okay because I've got Fabregas, who I'm definitely going to get rid of, and probably Zuma, maybe just for the week. I mean, I'm not sure about him anyway, whether he's going to be starting every game, so he's always going to be a rotation risk. On top of that, I've got Van Aanholt and Bellerin, so I've got to get rid of 2 or 3 of them.
I think Bellerin's fine. I think the thing with Zuma is he's played 7 straight games at Stamford Bridge. He only plays the home games, but that's okay. That's what you want. So
it's only what I want when you haven't got blank game weeks. So that's the trouble that I absolutely need to get 11 out if I can. and he's definitely not playing this weekend. And then he's got West Ham, who is an away game, so okay, he'll probably play that. There's no point in keeping him.
So okay, so have we all got 2 transfers going into this weekend, right?
Yes.
So are you all planning on making 1 transfer and saving 2 for the double?
I'm considering making 1 and just hoping Jeff Cameron gets a minute or 2, and then I will go in. Right. Then I'll go into the double, taking a hit, and then getting 3 players in, which would be Austin, Ericsson, and Rose.
Okay.
And I would have Kane, Ericsson, Rose, and Austin. So that's an option. I'm considering getting rid of Terry. In fact, I will probably get rid of Terry either this week or next to fund some of those double game weekers. And the reason is because I think for the double game week and in Chelsea's defence, Ivanovic is the main draw. He's worth that extra.
Yeah.
Is he now?
You've come round to that way of thinking.
Well, you look at the points coming in, and he's the guy's he's like
Absolutely.
one of those.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? Terry's going to start getting the goals, like he did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he will.
Just after you got him, just after you chased his points, when Ivanovic went about 20 weeks where he didn't get anything. Yeah. He got a few clean sheets, of course, but he didn't get any goals.
You were pushing me to get rid, weren't you?
I was a while ago, yeah, but because then Terry was outscoring him. But I just think at the moment it's just the consistency over the season as well. Yeah. The guy's a machine.
The thing is, I did see it coming because he was getting forward so much, and I went to the Everton game at Stamford Bridge, and he was playing like he went into the centre forward position at times, and that's where he scored from at the weekend. It's just ridiculous.
He's one of those players where you look at and you just think that's almost not human. There's a robot controlling them or something, like Suarez was at times, and just the fitness levels and the attacking displays. So I think ultimately for game week 34, so I'm thinking that far ahead, I would be looking at Hazard, Costa, and Ivanovic. So that's going to require gradual surgery. Of which and Terry, getting rid of Terry frees up. That's Terry's like I can move Punch into Ericsson, no problem. If I'm getting rid of Terry for someone like Dawson or even Lescott at West Brom.
You mentioned Charlie Austin, Jonty. How do we all feel on him? Because I'm looking at it going, well, I want to get Ericsson. That's going to be one of my transfers. The other one is a risk, and it's Giroud to Austin. I'm not so sure about that one because Giroud's in such great form, but Austin's got the 2 home fixtures.
So You're turning now because you were dead against Austin a few weeks ago.
I don't like him. No, I don't like him because I predicted what had happened. I thought because QPR's goal threat was just Austin, so sooner or later people were going to find a way of stopping that. And he's got 1 goal from open play. What, in 10 or 11? He's 3 goals in the last 7, I think, and 2 of those have been penalties. All of them away from home. But then I look at it and think,
same with Cazorla. Cazorla's got all his goals from the penalty spot, bar 1.
I think with a team like Arsenal, they're always going to draw penalties because they've got lots of fast, skillful players.
But 6 in 8 games, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because they've had really good run. They've had weaker opposition. With poorer quality defenders who will, when they've got Danny Welbeck bearing down on them, instead of like getting
think about what you
said.
Danny Welbeck.
Really? Well, that's exactly what happened. Instead of
they're fortunate. They've been fortunate.
Down. Yeah.
So you're going Austin then, Joe, for sure.
Well, I've got Defoe. So for me, it's a choice in game week 28. Would I prefer Charlie Austin with his fine record and two fixtures, or Jermaine Defoe with his less than fine record and 1 fixture? So that's easy. If I was you with Giroud, I would perhaps not make that move.
Arsenal QPR, I know exactly.
I would actually perhaps be looking at taking a punt on Phillips if I were you.
Funny you should mention that. I think Big Numbers is going out tonight with some interesting stats on Phillips. He's got 3 assists in the last 2. In terms of chances created in the last couple of games, he's very impressive. So it's something. I mean, and Ramsey obviously likes him, and he's 4'6". So a bit of an option. Bit of an
So
option.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's still if I didn't have Defoe, then if I had Giroud, I would definitely not be looking to ditch Giroud for Charlie Austin, but I would be looking at Phillips, and obviously the QPR defence is out. So
What about, okay, let's just go to this week, which is the short game week, rather than going past it. What are you looking at? Are you looking at Liverpool? Are you looking at what United?
well, this coming game week to get.
I mean, if you're talking about just doing the one transfer.
If I made a transfer, I would be looking at something like Terry out for someone like Dawson or Lescott. I'm still a bit unsure about Dawson starting for West Brom. I don't want to be getting another Wisdom in. So just a solid West Brom defender, nice and cheap. That frees up. I've already got 1.5 or so million in the bank. That will give me about well over 3 million in the bank. So that will set me up for the following week. Take a hit, 3 transfers, 3 million in the bank, lots of choices.
Granville, let's have a look at what other people are doing. Let's look at all aboard and look at the transfers. I mean, obviously it's Monday night, so we're only a little way into it. Not too many transfers made at the moment. Guys, Silva and Cafalla are top. 40,000 transfers in for Silva, 28 for Cafalla, and then Aguero 24. So Silva chasing points, or is he going to keep this up? As I said, 7 goals in 10.
Good fixtures.
Yeah.
Well, we've spoken about Silva before. You just got to hit him at the time. I think we said there was a few weeks ago when he scored a similar amount of points, 16, 17 points, and straight away I'm not sure if I got him straight after that, but I remember saying he never scores big 2 weeks on the run, and actually I think that week he did, fairly big. So maybe he's on for another. But who's he got? Liverpool away. Who's the game at the weekend? Is it Liverpool? Yeah, Liverpool away. Tough, I think, especially the way Liverpool's defence are.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool's defence at the moment very strong, certainly away from home. But as I said, when you get Silva, you've got to stick with him, haven't you? That's the difficult part because you're going to get dry spells. Although recently it's just not been the case. Okay, what about Key at Swansea? Let's go, because he's fourth on the transfers in at the moment. Obviously a popular choice right now. Lots of people talking about him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get it.
I got Key in for my Sky side this week. I was very pleased with that. So I got 93 points for my Sky week.
Really, you bought him this week?
I bought Key in because I noticed that he's very good in the Sky game because he does get these odd goals, and it's the passes. So and he's very cheap, and he got 12 points in that game. I was actually looking at him in FPL as well because
he's 5 million. He's got 2 goals in 3, but you know he has got 5 for the season, which is a decent return for 5 million. But I don't know. I just think there's better options with Moses and Sinclair knocking about. Yes, I did say Moses. I don't know. And even Jordan Knight. What do we feel about Jordan Knight?
Yeah, I was just going to say him. I think he's just there as a filler. He's not going to get any points, surely. 4.4, he enables a better striker. I can't see any use for him really, other than you lost.
He's also wild though. Gerrard's been.
Sorry.
Well.
Oh, we've lost Joe there. He's back.
We have.
Lost
he's frozen on my screen.
Temporarily, yeah. He's frozen in time. Yeah, I don't know with Ibe. I think he's got something to offer. Rodgers definitely likes him.
That doesn't mean he's nailed on. He's not scoring any points. It's great to have a Liverpool player at 4.4, but he's not giving you anything other than he's enabling a spot. That's all he's doing at the minute.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think what you say about Moses is I mean, I got him in a few weeks ago, didn't I? Just for that one game week, and I got him, and I didn't get Walters. I went for the wrong one. And now is he on penalties, or is it because he won the penalty? He took the penalty.
No, he must be on pens. I mean, no one expected that, but yeah. I mean,
well, he was fouled, so maybe they've got this agreement that.
It's a policy that if you're fouled, you take it.
Yeah.
No, I don't see
it before. Yeah.
Walters.
I mean, Walters has taken more this season.
Yeah, it was odd.
Pretty sure.
No one's expecting that. That was a bit odd. I mean, any way Moses can get points is okay with me. It may even tempt me into buying him. Transfers out, so Costa's top of that, 32,000. Mainly because I guess with the blank, it's just not. He's the one player you can get rid of and know that they've got Southampton and West Ham the next 2 tough fixtures.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a few game weeks before we want him back. The other thing is he's got those 2 bookings. He's 2 bookings away from a ban, so
Is he? Right.
that's a consideration, isn't it? That Costa is someone that you're going to want back soon, but he's definitely dispensable at the moment. Fabregas next on 30,000, and Eriksen on 28,000. Now people are getting rid, obviously, because they've got Kane as well and a couple of Chelsea, I guess. But you're going to want him back away, aren't you?
The blank game week, it's difficult when you've got a blank game week. You can't get rid of players and then not have the doubles for the next week. You might as well keep him and play 10.
Yeah, I think so.
You kind of might as well. I mean, this is the thing with losing. I don't have to lose any Spurs players because I've got Kane. I'm definitely going to keep him. Well, if there are players that you have to lose and they've got a double game week, and QPR players, I guess, as well, it's no point.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that at all. I guess because he got the arrest as well. So maybe people don't think he's nailed on. But they're all highly owned players, all these. Costa, Fabregas, Eriksen, Hazard. People are just having a change, aren't they?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the only player that without the blank there in the top part is Wisdom is next, 23,000. And then Clichy. I mean, Wisdom and Clichy again Wisdom's been dropped and Clichy's been rotated. So those are players that people can't hold on to because they're inactive. Same with Chadley, he's uncertain, and you can't go into this game week with players in that situation.
So what do you make of Hazard then? People just deciding, well, he's only got 1 game in the next two weeks.
I guess they've looked at the fixtures and gone, they're difficult games, but and also I guess there might be people that aren't going to make a big loss by getting rid and then or can afford to get him back soon after. He's not a player that I'd want to get rid of, to be honest. But
no, but you've got a lot invested in him.
Yeah.
On penalties, although he didn't get the penalties which he should have got this weekend.
No, indeed. Okay, let's look forward to the weekend. We're not going to look at both game weeks. We'll just look at the weekend coming up with the missing fixtures. Have you picked out some clean sheets for us, Graham? Well, a bit tougher, obviously, but.
Well, I'd say tougher. Well, we've got 3. We've only got a short game week, haven't we? I picked out. I have a feeling. that West Brom are going to. Southampton's going to be no score.
Yeah, you see Southampton the other day, really struggling for ideas, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. As I said to you about Mane when you got him a few weeks ago. I don't think you can justify it because I don't think they're scoring enough goals. I really don't. And that West Brom game it's not easy. It's not easy to score against a well-drilled unit like West Brom. So I think there's not going to be any goals in that one. So those are 2 clean sheets, and I go for West Ham, home to Palace.
I don't know if I see that though. I mean, Palace have got plenty of threat. I just think under Pardew they've done a good job. I do think West Brom, Southampton could definitely be the case.
I just think with Reed back, I think they're going to be stronger. I think they're actually quite good, West Ham, at the back when they put their minds to it. I can see them keeping a clean sheet there. I don't think Palace offer that much.
Burnley home to Swansea. I mean, Swansea.
I thought about that, but Burnley on they concede from particularly set plays. They're rubbish at them. So I can't see a clean sheet there. No. I think Hull picking up form, so I can't see one there. And I think Villa are a bit I think they can score against Newcastle. Newcastle were hopeless against City. And maybe Arsenal will keep one at home to Everton.
So you're not backing United in at home to Sunderland?
No.
You reckon Sunderland can score at Old Trafford? You just think United just conceding against anyone at the moment?
Well, I think what it'll be, United will be 3-0 up and then they'll concede later on. I don't know. I thought they were a bit unlucky actually the week against Swansea. I thought it's one of the better games that they played this season, and the luck ran out actually. And it was the goals were a bit fortunate, but there you go. I think they're just going to be they give away too many big chances.
Johnson, you see any clean sheets in there?
I think
Johnson back.
Yeah, I'm back. The technical difficulties have finished. I think there's a potential for one of possibly Stoke. I don't know. I quite fancy that to be a draw, but I'd probably say Newcastle. I think I'm not that convinced with Aston Villa at the moment. I also think West Brom, Southampton is one of those. If I was to pick out a 0-0, that'd be it. I'm quite happy going into that with Foster and Klein myself.
Yeah,
I think that could be good.
Well, we're all gonna have to play those players because we've got so many players on the bench. So.
I think Palace are going to score against West Ham, and I know I might be biased because I have Jason Punchin in my squad, but I was having a look at some of the members' tables, and there's one I construct kind of trying to predict assists coming in, and he's just putting in so many chances, crosses, corners. It's just inevitable.
Did you see though? He's in central midfield at the weekend.
Yeah, he's there, but he's coming forward. I mean, that's probably where he was actually much more effective, even though he didn't get the points. But in fantasy terms, he had much better prospects through the middle than he does on the wing. Yeah. So one to look at. I mean, I'll probably ditch soon, but I think there's going to be goals in that West Ham Palace game.
All about Balassi for me. It's only a matter of time before he explodes. He's going to have one of those games where he gets a couple of goals. You watch, it's going to happen.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Okay, Granville.
It's not nailed on though, is it?
No, well, he will be now. You see him at the weekend.
I know. I've seen it. He's kind of he does things in bursts. I think he plays games in bursts where he plays really well, and then he'll just go off form. But you look at his appearances, he doesn't play that many straight games. Anyway.
Yeah, but he'll have one of those games. It's just about catching him at the right time. Yeah. And well, it could be West Ham, but we'll see. Okay, the mini game, Granville. It's 185 to 162. Last time we played this was back in game week 24. That's time some way. And
we cried off last week, didn't you?
Yeah, I went Aguero and Coutinho. That got me 6 points, and you went.
No, I went Aguero and Coutinho.
Yes. And I went Sturridge and Schlupp, which got me 2 points in total. Sturridge didn't even start, and Schlupp got me a point, and I think he got booked and lost his clean sheet. So that was pretty miserable. 185 to 162. You've got the heavy hitter. No, I've got the heavy hitter first this week. So I'm gonna, having said that Giroud could be on the kind of dangling and may get rid of him for the double game week for Austin, I'm going to back him for this week. He's home to Everton, in great form, and we're seeing a bit of consistency for him, aren't we? I just think, I held on to him for that game week when he got rested to the bench. John T, I know you see him as a rotation risk, don't you?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So who's that? Balassi?
No, Giroud.
Giroud. Yeah, I think he is. I think they all are, except for Sanchez at the moment, because Sanchez can play up front in Giroud's place. But I think Cazorla will get a rest at some point. There's a lot of games, especially around Champions League. I'll be very annoyed if he happens to be this coming game week as an owner of him. But I think Giroud is. Yeah, I think he is, and I think Wenger has probably learned a lesson. He overplayed him last year, and I mean he was shot to pieces by the end of the season, really.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think he's got options.
Welbeck who can play. He can play up front.
Yeah, I know.
The thing is about Giroud is that Arsenal he's going to play this weekend, isn't he? We think.
Yeah, I think there's a chance.
If he misses a game, it will be this weekend. I think they don't play again in the Champions League for 3 weeks. Strangely, so I think it's a 3-week gap. It's a long gap. So I couldn't see him getting. I think he's a number one striker now. Definitely.
I think owners need to be very worried. I think he's going to struggle. He's become a bit like an Oxlade-Chamberlain now, so he'll be in and out. As Demi has just said on YouTube, Özil looks pretty safe too. So yeah, I agree with that. I think Özil is among the safest bets, and I'm regretting one of my decisions was I got Sanchez in instead of Özil. I really should have got Özil in.
That's a maverick move, John T. Maverick move to go Sanchez.
Well, yeah, the Sanchez ownership and the amount of people within the top 10,000. But I think avoiding Sanchez and getting a player that's going to score more. I mean, that's the key to rising up. So it's not too late to make that move. And I'm worried by Sanchez's lack of returns.
Anyway, so I'm going Giroud this weekend for Everton. I think he'll play and he'll score. Granville, you've gone for another Arsenal player, haven't you?
Well, as Jonty said, he's worried about Sanchez's returns. Now I'm worried because I was going to have him, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I should have gone for Özil. But I'm going to stick to my guns and go for Sanchez. I think he's got too much class to go another game without scoring.
I mean, Everton won't make it easy. I saw them at Chelsea and they did park the bus a bit, but then it all went wrong at the weekend at home to Leicester. So I don't know what to make of Everton at the moment. I mean, it can't be Gareth Barry. That can't be the issue. They were missing him against Leicester, but surely he's not the one who holds it all together. But I do worry that Everton could make it difficult for Arsenal. But
they give away the ball too much. Besic is great at the tackle, but he's so loose with his passing. He's not the only one. They do struggle, and Barkley's another one who gives away the ball a lot. So they put themselves under pressure. I think Jagielka's lacking pace, and both the fullbacks are having a pretty bad season. I think in terms of defending. So I don't think they're going to be able to hold out against Arsenal. No.
My fancy on a risk is a player that we've mentioned already, and a player that I've liked before when he was at Swansea. That's Scott Sinclair. I mean, 2 goals in 2 games for Villa. Obviously one of them in the cup, but he's always had a goal threat. He had double figures. Well, he almost got 20 goals in Swansea's year in the Championship when they went up. And Sherwood obviously likes him. He's 5'2", which is a decent price, and you can take a risk with a midfielder. So, I mean, Villa haven't got
no penalties though. If
yeah.
he on penalties, Benteke's on penalties, isn't it?
He should be. You just never know, but Benteke will be. I mean, they're trying to buy Benteke a goal, so I doubt whether Sinclair will take pens. But he can do it. He's a decent penalty taker.
Oh yeah, no, we've seen.
But they're at Newcastle, and the Newcastle back four, I mean, absolutely torn apart at City. Even Villa can score there, I reckon. So I'll go with Sinclair. Who have you gone with, Grenville?
I'm going to go for Ndoye, because we've spoken about him a few times, and I think that Holt has started to hit form.
Can he get 3 and 3? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I think this is like his last goal, so I might as well. I'm not considering getting him, but you never know. But I think this would be his run over once he scores this weekend.
Well, he's at Stoke, and Stoke have got problems at the back, so
the struggle and set play. The struggle in loads of ways. Yeah, they do struggle, and they've got quite a few injuries as well. I think who's going to be playing up the back this week? Cameron's out, isn't he?
Barnsley's first choice, and Peters is another doubt again because he went off injured. So
Cameron could be back.
Shawcross won't be back.
No.
I mean, they've had a lot of destruction back there. I mean, Hull could nick one. I mean, there was a bit of a resurgence, but is it a bit much to ask Ndoye to get 3 in a row? Well, we'll start believing it if he does, but we'll see. It's definitely a risk, Granville. So it's 185 to 162, 23 points in it. Let's see if you can bridge that gap. Let's look at the Scout Leagues. Let's look who's doing well in those. So Simon March is still winning our Classic League, 1671, number 1 in the world, and Adam Stuckart, number 2 in the world, on 1653. So he's 18 points behind. In the Members League, we've got a new leader, Ross Gillard, on 1620. He's 27th in the world. Simon March is a member, but not in the Members League. So he's threatening to crash in at the end and win that. And then over in Ultimate, Damien Liddell is top, 1912, and then it's Andrew Jackson, Andy Spencer, and Andy Spencer. That's Lanley Storrell. He's on the community, isn't he?
Yes, that's right.
Very active.
Third now.
Yeah, he's third in the Scout League on 1897. Also, Alex Bowers, who won the beta, who's a staff member, is 20th in the world. He's not giving up. He's still in there. How are you doing in Ultimate, John?
I'm doing all right, actually. I'm 734th, I think. So, I mean, there's only 22,000 players, so that's not great, but it's pretty good.
Respectable.
Yeah, it's respectable. I've learned a lot this season. I think it is possible to do well in the loans, and I haven't used them very well at all this season, if at all. And it does help. There is a bit of luck involved with the injuries. You have to accept that, and also changing players. I know that Granville frequently misses the deadline to change, and I'm the other way round. I'm aware that I'm going to miss the deadline, so I make the change on a Saturday night, and then more often than not, the players I bring in don't play. Like I've had Chadley, for example. I've stopped now.
I did this week, and this is what I've done a few times. Since you said that about doing your transfers early, I start doing my transfers on the Saturday night. So I'll look at a goalie who hasn't played or someone who's got 0 points, and so I'll swap them, and I'll make some easy changes, like if someone's got 2 points. But then the more difficult ones, say player's got 3 or 4 points, I hold off.
Yeah.
And that's what I did again. And I didn't play Sacco and who was the other player? Klein. So it didn't make a great deal of difference because, Sacco scored a goal, didn't he? He scored, I think he got 7 points, and the player who was supposed to transfer out got 3, so it cost me about 4 points. But yeah, I do keep falling for that one. When you mentioned about injuries, I think they actually help. Because the amount of times, I mean, I've got 6 strikers now, and none of them are injured. So how can you choose 3 out of them? I mean, I'm always going to choose Aguero.
Did you have Naismith on the bench?
Yeah,
I played Naismith this week. I played him. But I had Sacco and who else did I have on the bench? Somebody else, I can't remember. But I now got 6. Oh, Giroud I left on the bench, so I did lose quite a few.
You've got too many good strikers. That's your problem. Just pick one.
Who are you supposed to get? I wanted to get strikers who were playing.
I've got Sturridge, Costa, and Kane. I think. And Aguero. So I've got 4 good ones. But then
Who are the other ones?
I think I've got Sonogo and Naismith. So.
Well, Naismith's all right. Why aren't you playing?
He does troll me a bit with Gar, like he did it again at the weekend. I had him on the bench, but.
I think it's inevitable with strikers in that game that you're always gonna have points on the bench there, unless you can time the game weeks right. And you often there's only 3 slots, so you're always going to leave a good player. And I think with injuries, the only time I've ever been really badly caught out was with goalkeepers when I had Kroll. I can't remember who it was now. Oh, I had Manoni who got dropped, and then I had McCarthy as my cheap QPR one, and that was I should have got a third. I think the lesson I learned there is you have to have 3 playing goalkeepers.
Yeah, it does.
The other tip I'd give as well is the other tip I'd give is having choosing a goalkeeper who's playing in the Europa League, because then he's going to be playing on the Thursday Sunday.
Yeah.
And so you'll always have a goalkeeper playing on the Sunday.
Yeah, there's
Probably
a lot.
Same with outfield players as well, but it's useful.
You learn a lot playing this. I mean, I've learned some things I'm going to carry into next season. Well, I like gambling with the captaincies quite a lot as well, because you can do that. If you've got like some heavy hitters on Sunday, you can start with you can put the armband on someone on Saturday you would never dream of, but when it comes in, it's fantastic, and it has added a new dimension to the weekends and to the game weeks, having Ultimate there as well. It's just I don't think anyone's found the kind of perfect way to play it yet. I think it's just so many strategies that can work, but there's a lot of frustrations as well.
I think the key to success is something that Alex Bowers and Lanley Storrell have got to a T, is that they're very aware of who's playing on the Saturdays, the Sundays and the Mondays and Europa games. And the advice I got from a lot of those types of players in the community was get a player like Lloris, like Hugo Lloris, like you said, Granville, and he's been great for me really. It's really because he does play a lot of Sundays, and Tottenham get a lot of clean sheets, so that's a great a good option to have. I wish I'd got someone like Rose as well. That's another the big UFPL players in the community were recommending.
I just want to talk about Mondigal at this point, because we did a Fantasy Football Scout League last week, and that had the winner of that got entry to their £30,000 final day contest. Have you seen this, John T. Granville?
Yeah, it looks good. There was a people in the community who could hardly believe it, because it seemed too good to be true. But it's kind of no lose, isn't it?
It's quite clever though, the way it works. Though you basically, the winner of this goes through to the final game week contest. So I think there's 160 players will go for this 30 grand on the final day. It's 10 grand to the winner. The guy who won the Fantasy Football Scout League the weekend has already got 2 places in that final game week. So he's now got 3. I think he can get a maximum of 10. We're going to interview him this week. It's Chris DAFC. So he won the FFS League, and he now has 3 entries going for that 10 grand first prize on game week 38. It's an interesting idea the way they've done it, and it really makes game week 38 a real, a big event for those guys. But I can't help thinking that game week 38 is always a really unpredictable one, because you get a lot of rotation, a lot of unexpected score lines, and it's going to be all about getting the team sheets and picking your Mondigal lineup.
It's a really tough week. I think I've only my 7th season. I think I've only ever had one good game week 38, and that was that one where Chelsea annihilated a team.
Yeah, that's the one where I beat Granville on the final day. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's the one where I won the Fantasy Football Scout Cup on the final day. Where Drogba got his hat-trick by taking
took the penalty off Lampard, didn't he?
Took the penalty off Lampard. So that was a huge week. But every other week, I think I captained Aguero 2 seasons ago when he went 2 or 3 seasons ago where he got the winning goal against QPR to win the championship. But he still only got about 5 points that match, 6 points. So it wasn't great.
I never enjoyed a final week because it's there's always so much at stake, and I'm always watching the guys who are top of the Scout League to see if any of them can win it.
Depends who's won it. Chelsea have won it. Yeah.
It's just so draining. So imagine you were going for 10 grand for I don't know. I mean, it's stressful enough to win in the FBL season as well. But if you had 10 grand at stake, and a lot of people have more than that, I'm sure, at stake in the final week. The guys who go for the Sun League, it must be. Yeah, I can't even imagine what it must be like with 6 figures at stake. But yeah, it's going to be pretty huge. That. Okay, John T. What stuff have we had for the community? Any talk of my albums by me at all?
No, some people are straining to see which albums you've got there. We've had a few bits and bobs on YouTube. Yeah, actually, yeah, they were people are asking who you're going to be captaining this week. I don't know if we can bring this forward, but Beavis wants to know whether you are going to be, Mark, going to be captaining Giroud.
Yeah, this is it. It's tempting. It's. I mean, transfer-wise, I've got to go Van Arlo out, I think, because I need 11 players. Well, maybe not, but he's got to go because now he's clearly going to have a fight to get back in. So Bellerin will be fine. So Van Aanholt's going to go. I don't know who I'm going to bring in, but I want to keep the funds there so I can go Mane to Eriksen the week after. So I'm probably going to get a cheap defender in who's just going to get me a couple of points. Captain-wise, yeah, I mean, Giroud is very tempting indeed. I just don't fancy Aguero at Liverpool because I just think that's going to be a very tight game. So Giroud to Everton.
Another person, Rob Ziegler, is also asking about captaincies and going safe with Aguero or Sanchez or pick a differential. Well, as we've been discussing, Aguero's got a tough fixture. Sanchez, we're not too keen on form-wise. I think this is definitely the time for a differential.
It's tough.
Yeah, and I think so.
It is. And I think there's going to be rotation here as well. I'm sure of it. Like you were saying, I've got Cazorla. He is actually an option, but I can't be sure. I don't know. I have this feeling that he is going to get a rest because he is due one.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't really see. There's not that many great options, really. With Chelsea not playing, it cuts down the options.
There has been talk. I mean, going back to the community as well. So, I mean, one option, if you want a kind of perhaps a safe option, is Di Maria, who I was a fan of earlier in the season. This is from Every Dog Has Its Day in the community. Just wants to know our views on how Di Maria. I mean, he's been getting some steady returns, 7 or 8 points here and there.
Though, has he? I mean, it's got no goal in 11 now, right?
Yeah, but he has been getting assists.
Yeah, getting assists.
I mean, like the assist this week was just. I mean, he just passed it sideways. He couldn't really do anything else. He's passed it into Herrera's path. I mean, I think it's just a standard assist. I don't think he's really. I don't know. He's so disappointed at the minute.
Well, he's not. He's not paid back the transfer fee, has he? And I still don't think he warrants that. Was he 9.6? I don't think he warrants that price in FBL yet.
There has been talk on the community this week about Rooney as a captaincy option. I mean, in terms of guaranteed game time, he's your man. But what was the stat about shots on target or shots in the box since Christmas? It was something like 0. Up until the last game week. So
he went 8 game weeks. Well, he's got 9 games. He still hasn't scored, has he? He's got 9 game weeks, hasn't it? Without that goal.
You can kind of assume he's going to play up front. If Van Persie's out, then he'll play up front. And yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, but could pay off. I mean, this is a week where there's not an obvious captaincy. I think I will play safe with Giroud. I think that suddenly Giroud becomes a safe option.
Here's one from Christopher Nutten on YouTube. Moses for captain.
Yeah, well, yeah,
you've got to do it at some point, Mark.
Yeah, I've got to get him in 1 week, so it'll probably be the final week, isn't it?
I think there are a few game weeks each season where a differential captain is kind of allowed. this week. All the big picks like your Sanchez and Aguero, fixtures aren't so great. Form isn't so great. I think if you're gonna, this is the week to do it. This is a week where it's perhaps is a Sacco, for example, or as Christopher Nutton said, Moses for captain, or one of my favourites, Jonathan Waters. I think he's a great shout for getting in and captaining this week.
So
get one of those hat tricks again.
Yeah. I don't know. This is such a weird game week, isn't it? I mean, no one's going to be expecting anything from it. I mean, we often find that double game weeks disappoint us and don't give us the kind of tallies that we expect. And we looking at this and going, well, this is going to be really a terribly dull game week, but actually there's going to be points coming from
probably the one that turns it. I think next week has potentially disappointing as well, because you've got Spurs, who everyone's going to be loaded up on, and they've got their second game is 3 days later against QPR. You just never know. I mean, like, is Kane going to play both games? Is Eriksen going to play both games? There's always some disappointment.
We've got about Kane, weren't you, John? About impossible getting rested.
I was, yes. There's a really good community article by Ludo, which we're going to be putting up on the site this week, which has been looking at how Spurs have coped with previous hectic fixture schedules. So he's highlighted 2 or 3 times where they've had a lot of Europe and Cup games and important Premier League games. And he's looking at the rotation there, and there is a pattern forming. And as we saw with Eriksen being dropped, that came as a surprise. He's pretty convinced that Harry Kane is going to be dropped for at least for one of the next 4 matches. So you've got a Europa League, we've got the Carling Cup final, we've got 2 Premier League matches. So if you're looking at all of them, is he going to be dropped for the cup final? I can't see that. Is he going to be dropped?
That'd be Fiorentina if it's going to happen, isn't it?
It could be. If he's dropped for the Fiorentina game, I would be much happier about Kane starting.
Yeah. But he has to play because Spurs didn't get a result. They're going to Fiorentina. He's got to play.
I would agree with Ludo. He's a big risk, I think, to start both games. For me, I think he's still obviously the prime captaincy choice for that game week, because chances are for the second game, if he is benched, he will come on and
well, what about Aguero though at home to Leicester? He's got potential to outscore Kane over 2 games.
I think you have to. I don't know. In all the seasons I've done it, the fantasy football, the FPL, you always have to. You have to, because it's that thrill of the captaincy of a double.
I haven't always done it. I remember one week when everyone captained Charlie Adam because he had 2 games, and I avoided him. I went for Nani, and Nani outscored him.
Did he?
After 1 game.
Everyone captained Charlie Adam. My God, that's
you did.
Those were the days, weren't they?
There was something. I mean, we asked on the community when we had a hot topic about kind of double game week memories, and a few of them were flooding back. And I think you miss out. Because that's one of the part of the game, really, is that kind of, especially with a community like we have, is you join in on it. Like Sessegnon's last-minute goal for Sunderland, where so many
crashed the site. I remember that.
It always crashed the site. Always crashed fantasy football. Because it was such a relief and it was so exciting as well. There's disappointment as well. Where I remember Milner. Lots of people captained Milner when he was back at Villa and a captaincy option, and he got injured pretty quick.
Yeah, Mark had him. Mark had him that week.
I think it's just that. I think I would prefer to run the risk of less points by getting on paper not a great double game week captain, just because of the sheer thrill of it.
That's like captaining the player who's got the live game, because I had that with Aguero this week. It was a really close call between Hazard and Aguero. Because Aguero was on telly, I went Aguero because I thought, I want to watch it, and it worked out. It was so close, but there is things that sometimes logic goes out the window because you want that little bit of excitement. And I think you're right, John T. It's about getting that player who plays twice. You want to captain them, and
we've had an interesting point here from Andy 85WSM.
One of my favourite posters of late.
Regular poster. Chat to him a lot on Twitter as well. He says last time Kane was benched in a Premier game, he scored 8 points. So say that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Plenty to think about. Well, we're going to try and do another one of these on Monday night before the game week arrives, so we can talk more at length about that. But that's probably enough for tonight. John T, thanks for joining us. It's kind of work. We had a technical hitch at the start and halfway through, and we've rambled on for far too much. But we'll, it'll take a couple of weeks to warm up and get this format sorted. But Granville, see if you can bridge the gap a bit. You never know. This game week, it looks a bit odd. It might be the one where you pull it back.
I'm going to start taking risks now. Yeah. I haven't actually taken enough risks over the last couple of weeks. When it came to Sanchez, I didn't get him in my wildcard team, but I knew that I was saving him for the first transfer at the midweek game. It was a mistake. I sold Silva and I got Sanchez. Why did I get Sanchez when you got him? Why did I do that?
Well,
I went all dullard.
Yeah, you're saying Maverick. That was definitely dullard. Granville, you can't act like that if you're going to catch me. But it can be turned around quickly. I said 2 points behind only 6 game weeks ago. Now it's a big gap.
The thing is, if I don't get the top 10,000 this year, Jonty is going to rib me again.
Well,
is it that important getting into the top 10,000?
Yeah.
Surely it's more important to try and win.
Yeah, it means everything.
I'll tell you what, if that happens, it'll be Jonty will be coming on every week because I need some competition, Jonty, and you're definitely competition. I've got to beat you this year.
Says Mark, missed 170,000 or wherever you finished last year.
Exactly, what a disaster. So after that, I fell behind Jonty in the Hall of Fame. I've got to somehow get that back, but Jonty's a bit too consistent. I can't reel him in.
I'm always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Don't know, you're having a decent season again. Thanks, guys. Anyway, I'll speak to you on Monday when we do all this again. We'll see if we can get another guest on as well, because we'll hopefully nail the format in a couple of weeks and get this running nice and smooth. But for now, it's a good night for me.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.